Hank actually sounds sober when he tells me, "Schultz, we cannot tell anyone about that shit back there." Pause. Especially not Fooky and Gonzo. I'm trying to remember if I've ever heard him single the two of them out by name before. The way he doesn't include Dicky or even Armante leaves me feeling like a traitor, like sides have been chosen even though I know he's right. Back in Cheek's inflamed parking lot, the phantom gypsy told me that a dragon is lurking and it's closer than I think it is. Now I'm asking myself if she meant that literally, like there are elected reptile creatures serving in the House of Representatives right now, or if she meant it like metaphorically, in the same way the spirit of Christmas is all around us. Danger too is there lurking around every corner. What she meant by, "You got that eye, boy, but now you gotta learn to use it," is anyone's guess. Coasting silently along our foggy street lined with burnt-out street lamps and dead, colorless leaves, Hank eases the caddy to a stop. Parked in front of our haunted house sits an ancient baby blue Honda I don't recognize, filled with bumper stickers that collectively read, "I'm poor." Hank shoots a glance towards Fooky's mom's Lincoln that's parked sideways in the ill-lit gravel driveway, and with his hand on the door handle asks, "How much you want to bet Fook rescued Gonzo from some opium den and dragged him here as soon as he heard about the video?" From behind the spray-painted front windows, nothing but traces of dim light and the muffled sound of Dicky's acoustic guitar escapes the thick black comforters hanging over the front windows. The air is bitter and strong, like it's not too soon for the Halloween cobwebs, rotting jack-o'-lanterns, and ghosts that look nothing like the real thing. Before opening the front door, Hank points to the visible coke residue around my nostrils, and I motion at the dried blood crusted under his. "Hey man, remember, don't let Gonzo get anything out of you," he says, shooting an accusing look my way before turning the knob. Wearing only a pair of blue Hawaiian hangover shorts and a sombrero, Dicky sits on an old stool playing Santeria on the guitar. Lazily hanging like a Mexican flag, the string of old red, green, and white Christmas lights twinkle in the mirror of his giant aviator shades. The way he looks straight ahead like the Eye of Horus while he strums gives the impression that his gaze could follow you anywhere in the room. He stops singing long enough to say, "Hola, motherfuckers," then strikes an ominous B-flat minor chord and asks, "Jesus, Hank, who beat your ass?" As if he weren't expecting us to return home, Fook jumps up from Hank's drum set in the corner like an adulterer. He manages to wedge his pink fedora and matching jumpsuit from behind the crashing cymbals with all the grace of a drunken smurf and bellows across the room. "Look, it's Axel and Slash. How's it feel to be famous, boys?" Past a bevy of empty Jack Daniels bottles and stepping over the two smoking hot girls, one with dark pigtails, the other wearing a cowboy hat and smoking a clove, who looks vaguely familiar from behind, Fook makes his way across the living room. He wraps his massive arms around the two of us like he's got a master plan that involves unimaginable amounts of cocaine. He's eager to lay it on us, but I'm distracted by Hank surveying the room like he suspects someone is wearing a wire. I take a deep breath, wondering if all the eyes of the room are avoiding Hank's battered face out of politeness or fear. It's then that the vanilla aroma of the clove draws my attention to the girl shaking out a cowboy hat full of fiery red hair when it hits me like a blast of crack to the brain. I turn to Hank and whisper, "Oh, those bitches." Under his breath, Hank mumbles something that includes motherfucker as he takes off his one-arm shades to shame me with disappointment oozing from his two black eyes. Not fucking cool, Schultz. Not fucking cool. He grabs the guitar case full of yayo from my hand like a thief and announces to the room, "Schultz was getting a gummer from some toothless hooker and, one thing led to another," before making his way through the smoking living room without making direct eye contact with anyone. Dicky is finger-picking the intro to Blackbird when suddenly, from the bathroom, a series of thunderous blows cause every head in the room to snap toward the commotion. With the kinetic bombardment of the Rod of God, a final explosion sends the splintered top half of our bathroom door flying into the living room like a fiery lead balloon. I was ready to assume this was simply another hallucination and nothing more, until I saw Gonzo leap from out of the bathroom with his hair on fire, howling, "God damn, boys, you trying to keep me locked up like some kind of an animal?" When Hank throws open his bedroom door, the vein running across his pectoral muscle webs out like a pulsating lightning bolt, jagged and impatient, and he has a golf club gripped tightly in his drinking hand. Fook raises his eyebrows at me to bashfully say, "Surprise." Gonzo's eyes are two bulging cue balls protruding out from the sockets like a couple of bloodshot felony charges that spider-web out as violently as an electric chair. With his tongue stuck out like a freak on a leash, Gonzo throws up the devil horns, cackles maniacally, and gives Hank a sloppy kiss on the mouth. Cashing the last of a bottle of Jack, he screams, "Yeah, not this time. You bitches can't get rid of me that easy." Hank did not toss the golf club to the floor. Instead, he set it carefully down against the old dusty clock, as if to say, "Don't go too far." When the empty bottle crashed against the Godfather poster hanging on the living room wall, the ginger-haired girl's eyes lit up like flash paper. Gonzo motioned for Dicky to plug in his Gibson, and now that he's grabbed the microphone, screeching the opening lines to bloody fingers, I pick up the bass. After an aggressive hand gesture that asks why Dicky and I aren't sharing in his outrage, Hank reluctantly sits down at the drums, and it's in those moments the eyes of the pigtailed brunette catch the fire. Then, like the flame of 4 candles rising up together to create a brilliant detonation, Hank, Dicky, Gonzo, and I start burning down that same old road again. Unless your ears are accustomed to it, nothing can prepare you for how loudly a set of drums can sound while sitting in a small padded room. No two people will have the same reaction. So while the Lolita with the knee-highs sat on the old dusty couch as giddy as a schoolgirl, the cinnamon roll with great cans sat quietly next to her with blood pouring from her ears, acting like a redhead with great cans. After nailing a couple of songs, Fook puts on Bone Thugs and Harmony's East 1999 Eternal. We're passing around a fifth of Jim Beam while Fooky paints a grand picture of wild fortunes and great mischief. We listen as the big fella speaks in his legal jargon about strategically capitalizing on the video and how Horace's algorithms affect our visibility and whatever the hell ratioed means. Utilizing the rules of persuasion he picked up at the law firm, he's selling us on his vision that the rest of us are casually consenting to. "Guys, this is huge. Leave it all up to me. I'm going to make us the biggest band on the planet." Although I don't think I'll ever grow tired of watching Megumi throat chop that frat boy at Cooper's, I've decided I'm sick of the video already. Not that it isn't terribly exciting being involved in a viral cultural moment, but I'm not so blind that I can't see the shift away from our role as opening act to headliner. Me and the boys, we're nobodies. Until now, I've enjoyed a relatively low profile at school, and if I'm reading the look on Hank's face right, as Fook shoots off some colorful Horace comments, I'm not the only one who's realizing that fame without the fortune is a tyrannical prison.